Shalom uvracha and Shavua Tov. Before we start this shiur, I would like to take a few minutes to show my gratitude to Hashem and express and share His mercy for allowing me today to complete, Baruch Hashem, 40 years. And on the day where we change from Ben Arba'im Labina to Ben Chamishim La'etzah, from a time where you go from trying to acquire wisdom to understand what to do with justice and wisdom, we are here spending the time to learn Torah. So those few minutes that are left before we transit, HaKadosh Baruch Hu blessed me to be able to finish these 40 years with learning Torah. And there is no greater gift that one can get from Hashem than being able to learn Torah, especially on the day of the day he was granted life. And I would like to take this opportunity also to thank, obviously, my wife and my children for being so supportive and giving me the chizuk, the love, the intention, the freedom to be able to service Hashem with absolute dedication. And obviously, thank my parents for giving me the greatest gift, the gift of life. And once again, thank Hashem for another beautiful gift He gave me, a gift that no one else can ever grant anyone, really, is the opportunity to purify yourself. And today, Baruch Hashem, I was zocheh to be part of a minyan that gave me that opportunity to really do teshuvah, a deep teshuvah with people that I care for, people that I love, people that I respect, a very mamash rural minyan. And purify ourselves. So this being said, it's a very emotional moment for me, very special moment for me. And I pray that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will grant every one of us many years of health, of strength, of clarity, of dedication to Hashem, to the Torah. And Be'ezrat Hashem, be His glory and His pride. So we're going to just recap what we have addressed until now, since it's very, very deep, and continue where we left off. So we discussed about how Kadosh Baruch Hu, when He created the world with 310 worlds that are the worlds that He prepared for the tzaddikim at the end of time. And He broke down those 310 worlds into two verticals, the vertical of mercy and kindness, with 207 worlds, which has the numerology of the word Or, which means the light. And on the left, the vertical of judgment, of difficulty, of tzimtzum, tightness, rigorousness, right? He left 103 worlds, which is the Gematria Va'egel. We had the opportunity to allow that light from the 207 worlds to shine upon the 103 worlds, but we chose to have this buffer that is called Moshe Rabbeinu, alav shalom, and therefore we stopped the influence of the light from the 207 word, from the vertical of chesed, from the vertical of mercy, of abundance, to shine upon the vertical of judgment. And that led to the Egel HaZahav. We said 103 is the Gematria Egel, the calf. Furthermore, we dived into the root of that problem, and we addressed it, and we showed and proved that it is none other than the entitlement to think that you have the right to judge, to use the sharbit shel melech, to use the stick of the king that he judges with, and to think that deen, that judgment, is something that belongs to you. And once you believe that, then you impose your view as part of creation. You impose yourself as part of creation. You dictate. You have the right to speak bad. You have the right to hate. You have the right to belittle. You have the right to hurt, simply because you think that you are part of creation. And why is that? Because deen, judgment, is something that needs to exist within the existence. And if you use deen, that means that the purpose that you're using the deen, the judgment for, is also part of creation. So your thought process or your beliefs, etc., which lead to hate, which leads to sinat hinam, which led to the destruction of the Bet HaMikdash, which leads to choosing a new leader instead of Moshe Rabbeinu, that leads to many, many different chaotic and destructive situations in humanity. The Ramban goes and says basically what it is like the Bnei Israel, humanity decided to take judgment out of the throne of Hashem, out of the throne of God, and use it for themselves. They made it their own. And since then, the whole essence of sin, the whole essence of pain, the whole essence of judgment became again part of the world. And we know what that led to. The next big event after the Egel HaZahav is basically Moshe coming down with the Luchot, coming down with the 10 Commandments, seeing what's going on, dropping the 10 Commandments and breaking the 10 Commandments. And we need to understand what happened when he broke the 10 Commandments in creation, and what did we lose? So obviously, based on what we've learned until now, the reaction of Moshe is the result of the entitlement, the mistake to think that Bnei Israel had the authority to judge. The authority to judge. But we have to understand what happened at that moment when Moshe threw the Luchot. So the Pasuk says, the Mount Sinai was filled with Ashan, with smoke. Filled all of it with smoke. Why? Because Hashem, the presence of Hashem came down to the mount. The Chachamim tell us, what is Ashan? Ashan means smoke, but it's also the first letters of Olam, Shana, and Nefesh. Olam, that represents space. Shana, year, that represents time. And Nefesh, that represents life. Life, men. The three parameters, the three dimensions that Chachamim say are the darkest and deepest secrets of creation. The secrets that HaKadosh Baruch Hu made sure to keep very, very, very safe, that cannot be so easily understood. Once again, the soul, man, life, time, and space, the immensity of space, the vector of time, where it goes, where it comes from, Those are vertical parameters, concepts extremely complicated to understand. All three were in Har Sinai. What does that mean? And during Har Sinai, it came to Har Sinai because Hashem came down. The Sefer HaYetzirah says at the end of the Sefer HaYetzirah, explains that everything, all these three elements, all these three concepts, once again, space, time, and life, the Maharal of Prague says that space and time always come together. This is something we learn from the Pasuk in the book of Devarim. The book of Devarim tells us, the Pasuk tells us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when he talks about Eretz Yisrael, Eretz Asher Hashem Elokecha Doresh Otah Tamid, Hine Hashem Elokecha Ba, Mereshit Hana Ad Ve'ad Hacharit Shana. The Pasuk tells us that Hashem overlooks at Eretz Yisrael. He's Doresh, he's looking at the behavior of Am Yisrael from on Eretz Yisrael, on the land of Israel, from the beginning of the year until the end of the year. From here, the Maharal of Prague says, from here we see that there is a perfect correlation between the space, which has a root, which has a head, which has a reshit, which has a point of origin, and the time also that has a point of origin, and man that has a point of origin, humanity, life. So says the Sefer HaYetzirah that all those three pillars of creation have a root, have a head, have a reshit. Reshit, the Zohar calls reshit chokhmah. Like we say, the Bereshit bara Elokim. The Zohar says, the Midrash, the Yerushalmi says, the Targum Yerushalmi says, bechokhmeta, with chokhmah HaKadosh Baruch Hu created. So the root, the point of origin, the point of life, the point of connection to all these three pillars is the chokhmah. It's like the head. Yeah, a body has a head, and from the head, our Chachamim teach us, it's written at length in the Rambam, that the entire body takes its strength, takes its life from the head. Everything is in the head. So life has a head, time has a head, and space has a head. It means it has a point of origin. And what is that point of origin? Har Sinai, Mount Sinai. Meaning that the root and the essence of all these three pillars was brought down to the world for us to take advantage of those fundamentals, be able to connect to them, and be able to bring out the maximum blessing, the maximum abundance from the power of space, from the blessing of space, from the blessing of life, from the blessing of time, and be able to understand it so well, since you're connected to its root, that you can then utilize it, your life, your space, and your time in the perfect way possible. And this is Har Sinai. This is what was brought to the world when Hashem gave the Luchot to Moshe Rabbeinu, gave the Ten Commandments to Moshe Rabbeinu. He gave us one of the greatest gifts. He gave us the Chokhmah, the root of everything. We know, it's a Kohelet. Kohelet says, "Chokhmah tehayyeh be'aleha." What brings life to a person is his wisdom. It's his head, where everything resides, the beginning of everything, the importance of everything, the clarity, what brings clarity and guides everything. The place that allows structure to exist, the Chokhmah. That's why Chacham is also the same numerology as Chaim. The wise has the same numerology as life, because life comes if you're wise. Life comes if you have Chokhmah. But not only if you have a potential chokhmah, but if you're a melech, what does that mean, a melech? Moach lev kaved, when your head is in its right place, where there is a guideline, when there's a guidance, when there is a direction, when there's a point of origin that shows you the path. However, if you don't have that clarity, if you don't, there is no chacham in your life, there's no structure in your life, then there's no hayim. You take away the chacham, you take away the hayim. And then you are left in those, like we spoke about, circular lifestyle, going around in every direction and any direction, going anywhere. Come the Torah and Chachamim and tell us there are 3 pillars that Hashem gave us access to show us the responsibility we have in our lives with those 3 pillars. Number 1 is the importance of using your time properly, Shana. Number 2, Hayim, don't waste your life. Understand what is the direction that you take your life in. What are you investing your life in? Why are you investing your life in certain things? And the makom, every place has an opportunity. Understand, no matter where you are, that there is a reason for you to grow and there is a purpose and a potential for you to accomplish. And it's not just random to be somewhere. Or don't think that you belong in a certain place and in another place. No. Or the Torah is in when you're in shul, but when you're out of synagogue, no. Every place, every time, every moment in life, every opportunity that you live has to have chokhmah. All converge towards that root, that reshit, that chayim, that source of life that was brought down to the world. A tremendous connection between us and Hashem and revelation to humanity on how to implement, on how to utilize, and how to focus on the most important pillars of one's life. However, when the Bnei Israel decided to take judgment, the essence of judgment, the midat adin, into their own hands and use it for themselves and think that they have the right and they belong in creation, that they deserve the right to judge, they deserve the right to decide. So they completely shifted the purpose of Har Sinai, which was to bring down that clarity, that guidance, that perspective, and turn the entire focus on them. So when all those 3 pillars were supposed to converge towards one chokhmah, one reshit, and bring everybody back together, what it did is that everybody took a piece of judgment and decided to use it for themselves and decided to hold on to it and behave with it on their own. Something that was completely against the whole concept of Har Sinai. Suddenly we went from unity and how to become one and how to be able to stay connected to Hashem all together and how to all put our efforts in our personal lives, but take all that efforts and converge it all and bring it all to one purpose in creation. And we fragmented it by choosing to want to be a solitaire, to want to be a selfish individual. And therefore, when Moshe Rabbeinu saw this, then it could not keep the Luchot, the 10 commandments that were representing this unity, to continue and stay part of us. So he had to let go of the luchot. We know the luchot broke, and eventually we had to rebuild the luchot. The second time Hashem tells Moshe, well, this time the luchot will come from you and I will write on it, to come and teach us that once we took ownership and control and decided to bring down the judgment into our actions, to now having an intimate relationship with the judgment, whether you use it or you're under its influence. It comes with a price. When you want to play with something, you have to own it. And if it's gonna hurt, it's gonna hurt. We choose to take in our hands the Midat Hadin. So it's fun to use it. We feel good when we use it and we judge people. But it comes with a price. Because the same way you judge people, you will be judged. Because at the end of the day, you think you took the judgment into your hands, but you didn't. It stays with Hashem, and Hashem controls the judgment. But He will apply judgment upon a person the same way He judges him. That's the respect of the king, of the melech. So when the Bnei Israel decided to take upon this judgment, as we just explained, each and every one took a piece of that judgment. We fragmented the whole purpose of Har Sinai. And now we have to rebuild the luchot based on our own actions. Now our efforts, our proactivity, our devotement, our hearts will now have to be the catalyst, will have to be the diamond, if you will, that needs to be rebuilt in order for Hashem to rewrite the commandments on the second time. Hashem came and told us that now our actions are not just actions, but they're actions with deen, they're actions with judgment. And you have to be careful the way you use it. And now you have to rebuild the unity. Rebuild the unity. It's tremendously difficult. It's a very, very hard. But this is the purpose. This is the Het HaEgel. The Acharit. We have to go all the way until the end. Mereshit Shana ad Acharit Shana. Acharit, the end of the year. The end of the year is something that's that's secondary. You focus on what's now. And you say, okay, we'll do it at the end of the year, But the end of the year, if you push it back, might be difficult, might be dangerous. And this is where the judgment is. We know Rosh Hashanah, Mereshit Shana ad Acharit Shana. So the end of the year is what stands right before the judgment. The Gaon Mivilna tells us Acharit is one number below the numerology of the word Keter, the crown. Meaning, there's two ways of looking at the Acharit. Or you look at the Acharit as, after, we'll deal with it after, throw things under the rug. It's okay, everything is fine. And you just let this behavior of separation, behavior of judging, behavior of belittling, behavior of hurting, behavior of chutzpah, arrogance, apathy to take over you and contaminate your life, contaminate your time, contaminate your space. It's all contaminated. Or no, you know that the acharit, at the end is right before the king, is right before the crown, right before the deen. Meaning this is what will bring me back to the deen. I don't control the deen, but I want to go back to the deen and I want to connect to the essence of the deen. Chas v'shalom, not think that I own the deen. If this is the path that you take, then you're rebuilding your own luchot. Then you're rebuilding, this is a teshuvah. Then you take those front pieces and you put one and one together and then rebuild it and rebuild it and rebuild it until you finally have new luchot, new. Now you have a new piece of diamond or two pieces of diamond that Hashem can come and write his story on you, write his story on your actions. Now he can seal his seal of honor, his signature on you. This is Moshe Rabbeinu the second time. This is the luchot we carry today. We carry a dynamic where we have no choice. We have no choice but to take full responsibility because of that judgment that's within us. We have to take full responsibility on the impact of our life, of our neshama, of our soul, of our essence, on the impact we have on our time, not to waste it, not to use it in vain, and obviously not to contaminate the space, not to use the space for nothing, and make sure we rebuild the structure that was brought to Har Sinai, the Ashan, the Chokhmah. Everything has a purpose. Everything comes for a reason. Everything has its root. We need to be aligned to the Reshit Shana, to the Reshit, to the Chokhmeta, to the wisdom. The beginning is the wisdom. The beginning is the root of everything. Is life, Chaim, like the Gematria of Chacham. And only then, if we restructure ourselves and we understand that behind us there's a good reasoning, behind us and before us there was a purpose that was put in place for us to accomplish. Only then can we put and align properly the aharit, the end, and have a better perspective of things. This is the tikkun we have to do on the deen. And this is how we use that deen for the right things. We use that deen to build and get closer to the keter, get closer to the crown, get closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu by bringing unity and harmony around us. This is our purpose, and this is our tikkun. What does Hashem expect from us? What does He want from us? Every day, many times, numerous amount of time. Rabbi, what does Hashem want from us now? What does Hashem want? He wants unity. He wants ahavat hinam. But ahavat hinam is the tap at the back of somebody you haven't seen for months, and you never pick up the phone and call and say, I love you. And by the I miss you, I love you. This is not love. This is not ahavat hinam. Ahavat hinam is to understand how to bring people closer to themselves, a person closer to himself, closer to his purpose, closer to his family, even if it's painful, even if it doesn't sound right, even if it goes against the selfishness and there's reaction. No, this is why you use the deen, and this is why you use your actions to reframe, help reorganize, show that there was a beginning before us. And we have an aharit, we have an end result that's in front of us that we need to focus on. Just so that when we get to the Keter, we are not ashamed of what we did with that judgment, but instead proud that we reorganized things and we took those broken pieces of the first Luchot and brought it back all together. How fantastic is it to be able to come in front of Hashem and say, here is your Luchot, my Luchot, here they are, Hashem. I want to hand you over my Luchot. This is what is expected from each and every one of us. And now, this period of time, now is the time to rebuild the Luchot. Everyone has his own Luchot. Everyone has to rebuild these 10 commandments so that Hashem can come and write on it. And you become the bride of Hashem. You have his signature sealed and seen and engraved in you, in your work, in your effort. This is the beracha. This is the hatzlacha, the success that each and every one is yearning for. I want to be successful. I want to be blessed. I want to see things happen well. I want the blessing. What is it? It's Hashem signing on your actions. These actions that have a mix of judgment, a mix of rachamim. But we have to put everything back in order and know what to do with the reality that we are facing and with the tools that we inherited in Har Sinai. So please, Rabotai, instead of instinctively using all the tools that we have, that we were granted for in vain and for the wrong reasons, let's start being more aware of the impact we have on ourselves, the impact we have on our time, and on our surrounding. And let's realize that we have much, much, much more to impact and do, and so much power to infuse in creation. And that very fast and very soon we can have Be'ezrat Hashem, when Yom Adin comes, whether it's Rosh Hashanah or not, we come with our own Luchot. Let's walk with our own Luchot. We deserve that pride. We deserve that feeling of great accomplishment. And it's in our hands. It's just structure. It's just aspaklaria, the proper optics, the proper vision and outlook on things. That's all it is. And obviously, a regimented behavior if we want to align ourselves to do the right things. So Be'ezrat Hashem, may HaKadosh Baruch Hu grant us the clarity, grant us satisfaction, grant us willpower to each and every one of us, and all the beloved ones, and all Am Yisrael, walk around with their own Luchot, so that each and every one has Hashem's signature on it. And now it's officially night, so I want to take this time to wish everyone and bless everyone with beracha, with arichut yamim, refuah shlema to all the cholim, הצלחה, פרנסה טובה, שלום בית אמיתי, נחת דקדושה מכל יוצא חלציכם, ואל מלא רחמים יקבל תפילותכם ברחמים וברצון, ויאמר האל די לצרותינו, ויזכה אותנו לגאולה שלמה מתוך מידת הרחמים. I love you all, and I hope that Hashem, on that very beautiful day, the day He granted me life, He will accept our prayers and grant us many more years, not of Binah, but of Eitzah. Shavua Tov, Mazal Tov. I love you all, and I hope we continue to all grow together. Shavua Tov.